Welcome back to Cactus Wrestling. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Today we're going to be talking about the NCAA wrestling rule changes that have been proposed. And I got to tell you guys, I mean, we had a couple of videos a few months ago about rule changes that we wanted to see, and some of them are actually on this list. So we should be on this committee, I think.
Yeah, it's about time they recognize our talent and genius.
Cactus Wrestling going places. So let's dive into the three big ones. First one up, 3-point takedowns. And if you want a more in-depth debate about it, we already did this a few months ago. I'll put the link above right here. But I'm all for 3-point takedowns.
Yeah, we argued this before. I think all three of us were in unison that
Yeah.
3-point takedown would be the move to do, and for all the reasons that the committee listed, you'd think they watched our video and then said, "Oh, these guys got a point. Let's actually discuss this and then make the recommendation," because it makes sense. Like, you get more rewarded for the points. I forget who is quoted saying it, but like, someone gets 3 takedowns currently, and then someone else gets 4 escapes and 1 takedown, and the match is tied, and yet somehow that doesn't make sense that they would be tied, because right here.
Yep.
It doesn't make
Coleman
sense.
Scott.
Coleman Scott. It doesn't make sense that the match would be tied when 3 takedowns is significantly harder to accomplish than 4 escapes and 1 takedown. Like, so rewarding it to be 3-3-3, which would be 9 points, to then you get 4 escapes and a takedown, you're still in the lead. You'd have to give up 2 takedowns to make it tied 10-10. So, it would be at least a little bit. It's definitely a step in the right direction. I'm looking forward to see how this affects matches. And then it also puts a significant more importance on getting a takedown, as opposed to, oh yeah, you got taken down, that's okay, you'll get an escape and the match will be fine.
Yeah. One thing that I don't think we considered in our first video when we did this a few months ago is, would they also consider making a 3-point reversal?
Oh, that's a very interesting. That's true. We did not consider.
Yeah, because now that the rubber's hitting the road, and like this is a real, might become a real rule. We have to look at all the angles of it, and I was curious what you guys think about. A quick sidebar of, should a reversal now be 3 points?
I don't think so.
I want to say keep it at 2. I feel like you
Yeah,
can have a crazy scramble, and I feel like a reversal is maybe a little bit more low risk than.
I think you're right. A reversal is much more low risk, because you could try to do something kind of funky, crazy, and if it doesn't work out, you stay on bottom. You don't give up any points.
And they honestly do something similar in freestyle already, in Greco too, is that a takedown might be 2, but if you get a reversal, it's only 1.
Right. Yeah. So I think a takedown deserves to be rewarded more so than definitely an escape and a reversal as well. Yeah, that does make sense.
I like this rule. I think that this would be great. A lot of people are like, oh, people are just going to be more defensive. It goes, well,
well,
how do we incentivize offense?
On the other side of that, people are going to be more offensive.
Yeah,
because otherwise you're not going to score.
Especially if you give up an early takedown, then you really have to turn it on.
Well, and I know we haven't started discussing it, but now that with also adding in the other rule change of you don't get riding time point unless you've gotten back points, that's going to put even more of an emphasis on getting the takedown, because now you can't win just because you rode the guy longer.
I also think you're just going to see a lot more guys really get after an offense. Before you would need 15 takedowns, and now you're only going to need 8 to get a tech.
True.
You're literally cutting it in half. I think you're going to see guys that are like, hey, I'm great on my feet. Maybe I'm not as good on top. And now that there's going to be, as we'll get into, possibly no more riding time point, they're going to say, well, hell, I'll just take him down, let him up, take him down, let him up. And you'll see a guy like, it was Aaron Brooks did it against, I think, either Parker Kekaizen or Hidley, where he took him down like 3-ish, 4 times in their match at NCAAs. And he's like, okay, now I'll just ride out. But now you say, hey, you're halfway to attack. Like, go after it.
Yeah, there's no incentive now on top without getting that turn. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's my favorite change is the no riding
Yeah.
time unless you get a turn.
Which we also discussed.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
also.
check
I
out this
think we
video.
agreed
I'll
on
put the
that too.
link up above right
We,
here.
we discussed and debated and came to like basically the same conclusion.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
kind
mean,
of
we see
wild.
it from guys, who just are like leeches on top, who they
Yeah.
don't really do anything. They reach down, grab a leg. I think David Carr was an example of that.
Yeah,
Um,
you're not trying to turn the guy. You're just trying to hold on and stay on top and stop him from scoring the escape.
and I think that promotes it promoted more passive wrestling.
Yeah.
This is a great change because there's no point for you to be on top if you're not getting a turn. You might as well just cut them and try and get a takedown at that point.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think those two rules go hand in hand. Like those two are great. Like I love that you only get rewarded for that riding time point if you've turned the guy, which that's a bonus point that you get because you've done something even better. Like, okay, yeah, you rode the guy for a minute and you put him on his back. You scored some points there. Now here's a bonus point because you rode him for more than a minute. Just like we argued in the debate, like it makes sense. Like those two rules are. I look forward to seeing how matches play out now.
I mean, looking at this already, we could see, picking on our 165 semifinals match where we had David Carr. If these new rules are in place, he loses
Right,
against
Griffith.
Monday. No, against
Oh, no,
Monday.
Yeah,
Monday.
Quincy Monday got the first takedown. Yeah,
Because I think
Yeah.
Quincy Monday beat him in the takedown battle, and
Yeah.
Carr was able to win on the ride, and nothing. He's just following the rules, but he couldn't turn him, and he just said, "Well, I'll just ride," and he won
Yeah, and yeah,
by
he
him.
lost on the riding time point.
Yeah. So, but he didn't turn him. So I think that if we see that, we see a whole different national finals.
Yeah, exactly. Monday makes his way back there, and Carr probably goes on for third.
now, what do you guys think about the change in near fall? 3 point near fall would be back instead of 4 point. I think that is kind of a necessary change given more of a reward for takedowns. I think it's
Yeah, I mean,
fine.
if you're buffing one thing, you kind of got to nerf something else.
I was kind of not into this. I really like the 4 point near fall. I think it's awesome. But yeah, to Mike's point, like if you are, raising one, it makes sense you have to lower the other.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be awesome to be like, oh, I took this guy down and I got four backs. Like I'm almost already at a major.
Yeah, 7 point move. I think
Yeah.
that's a little
Yeah,
OP.
yeah,
I think that might be a little too strong there.
yeah.
Um,
So now it's still a 6 point move. It's
yeah.
just the takedown is that point that you would have gotten from turning the guy to his or getting him right to his back. So
Makes it easier for the refs. They only have to count to 3 instead of 4.
I
or
think one
or
thing,
back when they had to count to 5 to get 3.
yeah. I think that one thing we are going to see is the cultural shift of people going two. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that are like
No,
three.
you don't
I
think
don't
people are gonna say
know.
3? We said it in our video. We were
Yeah,
arguing like,
I put it as the
does 3
thumbnail.
have as much of a ring to it? 3.
That's true. Comment down below. What do you think? 3 the new 2?
I mean, you can still say it.
3.
You still can.
you
I
still
mean, high
can.
school can still say it. Youth can still say too. So, I mean, you still kind
I
of
would
got
like to
at
see
least
this
for now.
trickle down. I
Yeah.
feel like this is one of those rules that eventually will trickle down to the youth and high school level as well, though. Is the
Yeah,
3 point
as long as
takedown.
it works out as well as we think it will.
Okay, there are some other proposed rules. Some of them not as impactful as others, maybe. Right here, top wrestler must work aggressively to break down the opponent. Would change to also requiring him to pursue near fall points in or a pin. I think that's good. I think we're going to see a shift to less top wrestling unless you have a guy that can actually turn you, because there's no reason to ride if you're not getting that riding time point if you can't turn. So it's going to
Yeah,
be
if you
more
don't
of a
think you can
shift
turn him,
to
you're almost better
neutral.
off giving up the escape and taking him down again.
I think that a lot of people are not happy about this because they like, hey, like it's almost just freestyle. Just
That's
part of what
that's
like a
a
lot
lot
of
of
purists,
complaints. Yeah,
yeah, a lot of purists are saying, folk style is three positions, and well, freestyle technically is more than one position as well. You have parterre. They're like, this is just shifting more toward freestyle. But those same people on the other end are saying, well, I wish college wrestling was just freestyle. We're the only country in the world that does folk style. We should just get rid of it and do freestyle. It's like, okay, well, we're moving towards that, and you're still not happy. So, what the heck?
Yeah, you can't win with them.
Did we talk about the med forfeit? Did we pass that?
No,
So that's coming up.
Okay.
Some of these 5-second for waist and ankle, that's fine.
David Carr not gonna like that.
Who's that?
David Carr.
Yeah.
It's same thing with Carter Starachi. I mean, he was tight waist and ankle.
Maybe Mekhi Lewis is like, yes.
Hand touch takedown would be eliminated.
I mean, that one makes sense.
I think that was fine. I think that get rid of that is fine. It was a mess this whole year because you'd have guys that would, stand in Granby and their hand would touch the ground and then they'd lose the position immediately. We go, that was 2 and an escape. You're like, what the heck? How is that 2?
Yeah.
Video review. That I guess that's fine for coaches. It's not really anything that the wrestlers can control.
As long as they can keep the video reviews under 10 minutes.
Like I know sometimes they get really out of hand with how long those go.
Yeah, and then at that point, like conditioning doesn't play a factor, and it's like okay.
Yeah.
We saw it with the Real Woods match. Is that they had a 12, I think like a 10 or 12-minute video review in the NCAA finals, and it's like guys, like, come on, that's longer than the actual match.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's at every sport, even the professional sports, football.
Baseball,
I
mean, with wrestling, I think it has more of an impact because it's like a 7-minute sprint compared to
exactly a sport that that matters so much about your conditioning. And some guys are like, hey, technique wise, I'm not as good, but I can outwork them. I can gas them out. And when you do a long review like that,
you get a 12-minute break in between that. Yeah.
So this is one that Mike loves. First medical forfeit of a tournament would count as a loss unless the medical forfeit occurs immediately following an injury default in the tournament.
I mean, months ago we had this argument. I mean, we didn't post it yet, but it is an argument, debate that we had. Mike proposed.
I saw it with Colton Schultz. I saw it with a lot of guys a lot of these high-level guys, they lose at a tournament and they're like, well, that's it, I'm just done. And I'm medically forfeiting because it won't impact my record. And you're like, well, this is bonkers. This is, how do we talk about, guys aren't wrestling enough matches because there's no punishment, for lack of a better word, for saying, you can go 0-1 and just medically forfeit out because you didn't win the match you wanted to win. And I think it was a bad example that we sent for the youth kids because our college guys are looked up to by our high school guys. Our high school guys are looked up to by our youth guys. And if you're seeing, hey, like world team member Colton Schultz, for example, I'm not trying to name drop him specifically, but I just remember it happening at the Cliff Keen with him.
Yeah.
You have world team member Colton Schultz, who's been an age level world champion, crushed it at high school, national finalist as a college wrestler. That says, I lost to one of the.
Yeah, he got upset.
Yeah, who did he lose to? It was one of the Penn State family, not wrestling there.
Neville's,
yeah, he lost to one of the Neville's brothers, and in an upset. And then he's like, well, that's it, I'm out of the tournament.
No, I think he wrestled one more match and then
he did. He beat a guy like 10-0, like
he won his next match and then defaulted after that.
So, I think it's just a bad example to set for guys. So having some sort of like either clause or punishment in there, I think would, one, incentivize wrestling, and two, send the message that like, hey, like, you make a commitment, you got to follow through on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're there to compete. You're not there to med forfeit out.
You start something, you got to finish it.
Yep.
Simple as that.
So one of these days we'll post that video and we'll have to backdate it because it was filmed months ago.
We're ahead of the curve. That's Cactus
Wrestling.
We
had the idea first. Credit Cactus Wrestling. This is a real change. We are in complete opposition of that weigh-ins are moved to 2 hours instead of 1. We argued for mat side weigh-ins, like step on scale, wrestle. And now they want more space in between the weigh-ins, which I get. I guess I get it. You want to see the wrestlers at full energy instead of like, oh, I'm drained because I sucked weight wrong. And
but that was part of our argument that mat side weigh-ins should occur because then they have to cut weight properly. Otherwise, that's their kind of punishment for not. They don't perform well.
Or they're not cutting weight at all, that they're just wrestling their natural weight.
Yeah, that's what they should be.
I mean, even Coleman Scott's quote here, where he's like, coaches, every coach in the country will love that. Every 125-pounder will love that, just from the sheer sense of not being rushed. It's not about being bigger. He talks about, it's an hour, shove food down your face, get your shoes on, go warm up, etc. And I know that, in high school, it's the same thing, where I remember some guys, as soon as they get off the scale, have the mini Gatorade bottles, and they force it in literally as soon as they stepped off the scale.
Yeah.
Get in some electrolytes, get in some sugar, go have a fruit. Okay, don't want to eat something too heavy. And you're like, wow, like what's this dude wrestling at? Oh, he's 145. What's he weigh naturally? He goes, oh yeah, he's cutting from like 180. And then it's like, oh, every week's like this? Yeah. Oh yeah, he's cutting a ton.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like these longer weigh-ins are just gonna be like maybe incentivize a little more. So we don't want, at least me, trying to keep the health of the sport is, I know cutting's a part of it, but we're trying to move forward and keep guys healthy. I think that this is not necessarily going to help that.
I don't think this is something that'll trickle down to high school, though, just for logistics reasons. If you have a Wednesday night duel and you're weighing in at 6 o'clock, you can't wait until 8 o'clock to start the match.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Some of these other ones, facial hair rule, I think it's just a matter of time where headgear's gone too.
I support that. Yeah. I think headgear should be optional. I don't think it'll ever happen though. I think someone somewhere in the NCAA's is like, oh, headgear is a safety thing. It prevents concussions. Yeah. And it's like, okay, but like that's not what it does. It just keeps your ears. And even then you can get messed up ears because when are guys not wearing headgear? In practice. Where are guys doing the majority of their wrestling? In practice.
Yeah.
We only, with the guys that I worked with, a lot of them wore their headgear just to help get a better sweat going. Or because it's like, hey,
that's
or
true.
even,
because that definitely does get you the.
Yeah, or even just like, oh, I got to wear it in matches, so we want to get used to the feel and not constantly adjusting it.
Which you always see in high school. It's constantly just hands are here, not protecting your legs.
Even high-level high school wrestlers. So
it is. Sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just saying, I think this is. I don't think we'll ever see it as an option just because someone in the NCAA's thinks it's a safety thing.
Yeah. I do think it is kind of liberating to wrestle without the headgear for the first time, or it's just there's nothing there. It's not, because headgear's uncomfortable. It's not.
Yeah.
It's like wearing a cup in baseball or something. It's like a safety thing, but
yeah. Well, it's crazy too with headgear. Is like, hey, like high school level tournaments is optional now. Off season, it's optional for everybody. International, no one wears it. Like it's not a thing. So again, the only time you're seeing it is not in practice, not in the off season, not at international stages, is for certain tournaments and certain duels. So I don't know. I like the beard rule. I think it's sweet. I hope we get to see people with like.
I would have wrestled with a beard in college if they didn't have the freaking beard rule.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about shaving beforehand. It's just one less thing you have to worry about. True placement matches don't alter the team score. Okay.
Makes sense.
That makes sense. And weight certifications permitted to begin September 1st. Fine. I think the only other one, officials could let action continue after penalizing an illegal hold and not require a stoppage after imminent scoring finishes when the safety of wrestlers is not in danger.
Oh, like slipping in a full house Nelson by accident or something?
I guess. I don't know.
Watch the knee.
Yeah. This is just a kind of an official rule. It's not really going to change how wrestlers wrestle, so it's not going to be that big a deal. But I mean, I think some big ones here. I think the 3-point takedown, the riding time point elimination, med forfeit as your first loss. These are great rules. I mean, I hope they do get passed.
Yeah, I hope all. Yeah, exactly.
It's going to make the sport better, and let us know in the comments down below what you guys think about the rule changes and what other rules did they not address that you want them to implement in.
Yeah, maybe we'll debate it.
Thanks for watching. We are Cactus Wrestling, and we'll see you next time on our next video.